So we've made it here to Anglesey and it is a beautiful day. It is wet, it's been raining all night, but it should be dry up for the session. Track that I've always wanted to do. I've never managed to do it here. The countryside looks absolutely fantastic, amazing. So we're going to go and get ready for some sighting laps and let's figure out where this track goes. So this is a track I've always wanted to do, and before we went there I thought I'd download it in Sim. I'll leave a link down in the description and the car down in Sim so I could try it out and see what the circuit was all about. Right, so Anglesey, always wanted to do this track, saw it with people like Chris Harris and Top Gear, drifted out in Ferrari F40s and 50s, so I thought we'll do a track day in Sim. Hyundai Ioniq 5N just gone past, so that's been on the channel recently, so let's try it. Right, whoa, at least we don't need to wait for everything to warm up. Right, okay, first corner, okay, that's a hairpin, gonna need fourth. Don't know how tight this is. It's a fairly fast corner. Off towards the sea. Oh. Whee. I think that corner can catch you out if you're not a bit unlucky.
5 minutes later.
Right, that was scary. A bit understeer there. Right. Oi, that keeps on getting tighter. Oh wow, you can see the sea there. This is the corkscrew. Okay. We survived lap one. I've got an idea where the track goes and I've got a feel for it. There are some tricky corners here. That corkscrew is amazing. And the view is amazing. Look at the seaside. This is not an official mod. I think this is one that I just found online. So yeah, let's go and go to the Wales. This track day was hosted by Track Obsession and it was really well done, well organised, really impressed with it. First of all, we had a couple of sighting laps. We went out in two groups and just did the conga line, so we got an idea of where the track went. And I have to say, yes, it did rain all night and all morning, and it was pretty slippy out there, but Anglesey is an amazing track, and the first time I saw this turn 2, wow, there is a lot more camber on that than there is in the Sim, that's for sure. The first time coming out of this corner and coming up over the rise and just seeing the sea ahead of you was amazing. The sea changed during the day. Some times you came over and it was really rough, and other times it looked amazing. After a quick check over the car, I decided to go for the first session. Now, if you want to see these full sessions unedited and unhighlighted, go and check out. There'll be other videos on the channel soon. They'll be coming out once a week, I reckon, of each session. But yeah, it was really slippery. And coming out of here, I've just come out the pits and you can see I come around the corner and it is a rear wheel drive, but this BMW's done a 180. I have to say, thoroughly impressed with the driving standards. People did go off, people made mistakes, but there was no red flags in the time I was there, and there was no stupidity. There was just people enjoying the cars on track, which is what we like to see. And I have to say, this track is absolutely fantastic. It's got a bit of everything. I love the height change. It's got some fast corners, some slow corners. I really enjoyed it. With this being my first laps, I was just taking it slow. I'm here for the whole day. I don't want to end it in the session 1, but it's really nice that
the wet track meant that I could actually explore the limits of the car, could allow it to slide a little bit, and really enjoy it, whereas if it was dry it would just be full on time attack almost. Now the first real slide I got was downhill braking for this. You kind of downhill braking so the weight transfers to the front and you want to turn into the left, and as you can see the rear end just slipped out and I managed to catch it. But that is exactly the same mistake that I also did in sim. This is amazing. And while it was slippy, this was a corner that I'll continue to get a little bit tail happy in. As the session went on, I could start pushing the car a bit more, but it was getting a bit slidey out there, and I think that was due to the tyre pressures were starting to increase. Now, one of the issues I find with the standard GR Yaris steering wheel is the buttons are quite close to the outer rim, and that meant, as you can see here, I can't see my tyre pressures. I can only see the warning message because it's been cycling through it as we've been driving. So I'm letting a faster car through here, the Caterham Cup cars, but you can see just how slippy it is because later on in that lap I start to catch him, and as we come out the final corner he goes round as well. The GR Yaris at this point was one of the faster cars out there, and I think that is due to the four-wheel drive and the confidence that you can get from the system. There was many varied cars on track, and this was one of the highlights. This is a Ferrari 360 gated manual, and this was a pure track car. You'll see it later in the video. It's peppered with stone chips. This spent a lot of time on track. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to share the track much together, so I didn't get to see how it drove around there. As the session went on, I actually ended up finding more and more slidiness, especially around here. You can see fighting with the steering wheel, and you can see it just says audio off in the center, and that's just because my fat wrists have kind of pressed the buttons on the steering wheel. So I'm cycling through the screens here whilst on track to find my tire pressures, and you can see they've really started to balloon 32, 33 on the front, and that's just made the tires just not grip as much as they could. Now I came up behind this little MX-5, it's a turbocharged MX-5, and had some really good fun times with it. As you can see, caught up quite a lot under braking and got a good exit, taking interesting lines, and I think that was probably because I was taking a more traditional line, maybe not a wet line, or he was trying to focus on the exit. But it was good, a couple of laps with him, just right up behind him, enjoying that time. But again, you can see those tyre pressures are just steep, keep on creeping up. So after a couple of laps of having a bit of playtime on this MX-5, you can see that both front tyres are up to 34 psi, the rear's at 31, and it's just not conducive to having fun or anything on track. So I decided to do a cool down lap, or come into the pits, let everything rest, and then see where we're at. Maybe the track will just start to dry out.
So I've just done a good 20-minute session. By the end, the tyre pressures are built right up, so just taking some pressure out of it. I've got what, 28 on the front, 27 on the rears ish, there or thereabouts. Car really good. The circuit is slippy out there though. It is very, very slippy. Had a couple of moments, but nothing that spun us all the way around, which is great. Yeah, I think the biggest killer was that understeer. I think once the tyres got hot and they started ballooning, understeer started kicking in. So hopefully the tyre pressure should help with that. If not, well, we'll see. I was following that MX-5, which was doing some interesting lines. I didn't know whether that was for grip. He did seem to have a better exit than me, but then he was going a lot wider. Yeah, it was good fun. Really enjoyed the track. The corkscrew, that is mental. That is sweet.
One of the cool cars running around was this little Citroen C1 from the City Cup. This is run by SEM Racing, and they were just having buckets worth of fun, but really cheap as well. Really cool car.
So I hope you can hear me. This is turn 2, and wow, the camber. I don't think this angle does it justice, but there is a camber and a half on that. You'd normally say that's a proper hairpin. You can see why Top Gear and Chris Harrison, that lot, come here and drift out of this corner, because wow. Here's the BMW brothers. Let's go and check those out. So just about to go out for a second run and turn the car on. It sounds pretty raughty, and it looks like we've lost an exhaust bolt. Underneath the car, you can see there is just up here. You can see the exhaust gasket, and then it looks like there's a bolt missing. So let's try and jack it up and see if we can sort that.
So as that exhaust bolt was completely missing, and I had no idea when or how that had gone, evidently I didn't do it tight enough, decided to just try and tighten it up with a few cable ties. I would find this is futile, because I was in the assumption that exhausts get hot but not that hot, so I put 3 cable ties for it, and I found the bolt on the other side was also finger tight, so I tightened that right up, and that really held it together, but was going to have to find a more permanent fix.
Let's see if that fix works. Let's warm up the car and we'll go out for 3 more laps and see how it holds up. If not, we're going to have to go and find ourselves a bolt and a nut. Oh. Tyre pressures are low, and that's just because we've been sitting longer than I was expecting. But let's try and get some warmth in it and see how we go.
So with messing around with that bolt, well, the cable ties in the end, the interior camera here you can see became loose, so unfortunately we're going to lose that in a moment, so you're just going to have 2 camera angles for this session too. So as you can see, in session 2 things had dried out quite considerably because we was off track for longer than expected, and I've caught up to that little Citroen C1 that we mentioned earlier from SEM Racing. The tyres are not quite up to temperature yet, so I'm just taking it nice and easy, bringing those up to temperature, as I wasn't quite sure what kind of grip there would be now. But that little Citroen C1 is having so much fun, and I think they were saying that the tyres for this car, they went through a couple of sets of tyres, but they were about £25 each, so bargain. And you know what, they were saying it was teaching them a lot about keeping momentum up, because you just don't have the power to correct mistakes. You have to be very soft and fluid through the corners so that you don't scrub off any unnecessary speed. And as you can see here, through turn 1 they were carrying some tremendous speed. Now I'm not the kind of person that on a track day is going to be right up your boot. I'm going to give you a bit of space because I don't know you, I don't know if there's going to be something go wrong or you have an issue, so I'll give you space. And as you can see here, once we get onto the straight, the C1 can just pull to one side and we can use a bit of our extra power to fly past. As you can see here, I've started to catch this Renault Megane, and I'm not going to be up his boot lid to try and get past. I'm just going to focus on me and my driving, and as you can see, it is holding me up a little bit, but nothing too much of an issue. We're here to have fun, it's not about lap times really. And as you can see, we can get past on the start finish straight. But that did mean we were on a slightly tighter and maybe a little bit damper line into turn 1, and we have a pretty big slide there, about 60 odd miles an hour. We did have a Caterham car just behind us, so we let them through, and then we continue on having our fun. Later on in session 2 we started to catch this NC Mazda MX-5. I had a chat with the owner after this, real good chap. Yeah, the Yaris predictably was pretty fast down the straights, as you can see here. I'm catching and I'm having to short shift and lift off, and it was pretty good under the brakings up until this corner up here. But yeah, it was really good fun. Two very different cars. You could see that the MX-5 was a little bit lighter, a little bit maybe less understeer. At this point here, a couple of times I got a bit of understeer as I tried to get on the power fully in second gear, because it, with 325 horses, it can really shuffle, but had a really good few laps up until we made a slight mistake. So I managed to get in front and he did a bit of chasing, and we had a problem which you'll see in a second. So as we go past this BMW that spun on my first out lap, you can see up ahead is the red Track Obsession car, which I believe is like a tuition car, so I think people are in there with varying levels of confidence, and I'm focusing on him and not quite far ahead. As you can see, there's an MX-5 going off. I braked and then I thought, I'm not going to make this, I'm going to have to brake quite hard, and the MX-5 is behind me, so I lift off and I pass this red Clio on the right hand side, and potentially under a yellow flag, although I couldn't see one at the time. So I continue having fun with this MX-5, Here I let him pass so that we can do a bit of chasing, and you can see he is rubbing a little bit. As you can see, blue smoke coming out the left rear there. It was quite low down and it was just rubbing on the tyre there, but we had some really good fun. Again, if you do want to see this full session unedited, uncut, I will put this on my channel later on in maybe the next coming weeks. So a couple of laps later, you can see the tyres are a lot warmer and we've got plenty of grip, but we come out the final corner, and as we come up to the first corner, you will see we have somebody showing us the black flag. Now, my initial first thoughts was, the exhaust has got worse and it's making a lot of noise, but I found out that it was for that pass on the red Clio. Unfortunately, at this point, all my GoPros ran out of battery other than this one.
You right there?
Just had a report from the controller that you overtook under a yellow flag on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Both of you did it, so
Yeah.
please don't do it again.
Yeah, that's no worries. I didn't know what was happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, careful. Okay, thank you for that.
So I don't know if the GoPros caught that, but yeah, passing under yellow flag. So I was concentrating on the red car and I thought he had some sort of mechanical issue. I did see the MX-5 sliding off on the grass until the last minute, so naughty. Just want to say a massive thank you to Steve and Andy for letting me borrow the pump truck and the wheel to try and sort out the exhaust. It looks like the cable ties have rubbed free, so we're going to have to find a nut and a bolt. Managed to get a nut bolt washer. This should work, just to hold it enough. We've tightened up the other side.
Now, to say thank you to Steve, I decided to offer to take him out in the GR Yaris. So he had came with the Subaru that you might have seen in some of the external shots. Unfortunately, when I was following it at one point, there was quite a bit of black smoke coming out, and it looks like the turbo has gone on the old Subaru. So he hopped in the car and I took him round. Again, you can see here right up behind SEM Racing, and we're doing some good speed through turn 1. I'm doing a bit of brake. He is completely flat out, which looks good fun. A little tail flapping around. So yeah, here's some highlights from session 3. As you can see, the track has dried out quite a lot now. The one corner that I was unsure whether it's second or third, it was pretty much third in the dry, but now we can start to really push it, and I think this was my fastest lap time for this session here, which is an almost dry session. So enjoy.
There's some grip now, isn't there? Now it's dry. Yeah.
So that was a 124.5 and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We had a bit of traffic on the last lap and then I decided, you know what, it's time to cool the car down and bring it in and see how it's going. Again, you can see the center dial there has changed because I've hit it again with my wrist on the buttons, which is something we're going to go and change soon after this video. So come along and subscribe to the channel and you should be able to see that very soon.
She's a flyer, isn't she?
Yeah, that's a lot more
lovely.
grip than this morning. I'm almost out of fuel.
They grip well and they accelerate well.
Yeah, it's not the fastest thing.
So well balanced.
Yeah, it allows you to play with it without it going out of control. There we go.
Very good, well done.
That's no worries. I'll have to bring you along. Thank you for your help as well. Just taking Steve out for a passenger lap, and yeah, there is a lot of grip out there, especially with the camber. Now the tyre pressures have come down to a normal level. The tyres are just sticking, and then there's serious speed you can take through some of these corners. The car feels alive, but under control. Like sometimes you can have a car that's just too alive and it's not controllable. This is not the GR Yaris. So really happy.
During the lunch break and the start of the afternoon session, I went round, caught up with a few people. Here you can see that Ferrari in close-up detail. There's some cars here that you might recognise, and had a good chat with the guys from SEM Racing. So enjoy. So after lunch I put some fuel in here. It was actually not too horrendously priced. I was pretty impressed. And then we went out for our completely bone dry enjoyment of this absolutely fantastic circuit. As you can see here, Mercedes was out there having fun. A pretty road going stock car by the looks of it, but again they were having great fun and nobody was being stupid, which was amazing to see. Here I had a good play with this MX-5. I believe this was either supercharged or turbocharged as well. Good fun enjoying the circuit with them, and as you can see, certain sections they may be a little bit faster, other sections the Yaris was faster. end this session, I'm just going to share here with you my fastest lap of the day, which was in session 4, the final session of the day for me. So enjoy its lap in its entirety.
So we just had the first session of the afternoon. I'm getting pretty tired, so I think I'm probably going to do one more, using a lot of fuel, but it's really good track. I really enjoy it. It really suits the Yaris. I think that hairpin, the second hairpin with the camber really helps. Means the car doesn't feel understeer. You can really slingshot it around, so that's really good. And you know what, the facilities here are great. Like between me and you, the toilets really good, really well looked after, clean, unlike places like Silverstone. So that was really good. So we'll probably do one more, and then I probably got a long journey home. Just trying to get some footage off the GoPros out of the way.
Tyre wear on the Nankang NS2Rs was also pretty decent. There's plenty of life left in these.
So I did think of doing another session, but I think I'm going as fast as I'm comfortable going out there. Yeah, I've got a 3-hour drive home, so I don't want to be shattered driving home. Never drive tired. Front tyres are doing pretty well. Wear seems pretty consistent, which is great to see. So setup's great. Thanks A-line. So it's just a case of right now. I suppose I'm gonna have to put some air in the tyres, because when they're cold, they're down to 26 psi. So I don't want to be losing pressure on the drive home. So I'm probably gonna pump up some air into the tyres. And then take it from there. So I realised I got home and haven't done an outro from the track day. We're home. I have to say, Anglesey, amazing track, great track. The day went really well. There was not a single red flag, which is great. Some really good driving out there. No craziness, no idiots. Anglesey, great track. In the wet, really good, interesting, especially in the four-wheel drive GR Yaris, because you got that security of the four-wheel drive system, but you can let it slide, have a little bit of a play with it. Really good. The tyres did balloon. I think cold, the PSIs was down to about 24, 25. So when they were hot, they were what, 28 to 30. So did balloon up a lot. So that made it a little bit tricky, but a little bit fun. In the dry, a different track. It is definitely a lot harder on the tyres, but things like turn 1, that is, in Yaris I was third gear, damper braking straight in. You could probably do it with a lift. I think if it wasn't your daily, you could probably send it a little bit harder. But that was great. Corkscrew was great. That turn as you go up the hill into that chicane, again, really good fun. I really enjoyed that. Drive home, you know what, the A5, I went back via the A5. The A5 between the Welsh border and Anglesey, great. Although the towns and villages are 20 miles an hour, you can have a lot of fun on the roads at the speed limit, so not even going crazy. Really enjoyed that and thought it was a great day. I'd really suggest it to anybody who wants to try a different track day. Go and do it. I think the Airbnb that I stayed at was £25 a night. Perfect. I was the only person there. Amazing. So yeah, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I will do, as I said before, some videos with the full sessions later on as they come out, maybe to share a bit of the information, and so you can see what kind of lines, what to expect. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, a thumbs up is always appreciated. And you know what, if you want to give me a comment and talk to me about it, like, pop that down below as well. Until then, goodbye, have a good one.